Have you ever prayed and heard nothing back? You poured out your heart to God, maybe even with tears in your eyes, hoping for an answer, a sign, anything. But all you heard in return was silence. You waited. You listened. Still nothing. Days passed. Then weeks. Maybe even years. And in that silence, doubt begins to whisper. You start asking questions you never thought you would. Did God hear me? Did I do something wrong? Has He forgotten me? You've done everything you know how to do. You've been faithful. You've stayed hopeful. You've tried to remain strong. But now you're tired. Nothing seems to be moving. Doors stay shut. Prayers go unanswered. Life feels like a holding pattern with no clear destination. You're stuck. You're worn. You're wondering why. And somewhere in that heavy stillness, a deeper ache grows, a quiet, unspoken fear that maybe God has stepped away, that maybe your cries are echoing into empty space. If you've ever felt this way, you're not alone. These silent seasons, these in-between moments, test even the strongest faith. They stretch our trust and challenge our understanding. But here's something we often miss. Silence doesn't mean absence. Waiting doesn't mean rejection. An unanswered prayer doesn't mean God isn't working. In fact, the very silence we dread might be the space where God is doing His deepest work. His timing is not our timing. His pace, not our pace. But what if the waiting isn't punishment? What if it's preparation? What if the delay is really God's way of setting the stage, not just for what you've asked for, but for something far greater? Something you're not just wishing for, but being prepared to receive. When heaven is quiet, it's not ignoring you, it's aligning everything for the right time. God is never late, He's always on time. Even when it feels like everything is running behind schedule, even when the doors you've been knocking on stay closed, and the answers seem delayed, the truth remains, God's timing is not random. It's not chaotic. It's not based on chance or emotion. It is intentional. It is perfect. He sees what we can't see. He knows what we don't yet know. And He is orchestrating every moment of our lives according to a plan that is higher, wiser, and more loving than we can begin to comprehend. The Bible reminds us of this in Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1. There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. That means there's a divinely appointed moment for your breakthrough. A set time for your healing. An exact hour for your answer to arrive. And it will come, not a second too soon, and not a moment too late. But here's the hard part. God's perfect timing rarely matches our personal expectations. We want things quickly, instantly, right now. But God doesn't operate on our clock. He's not pressured by our deadlines or discouraged by our impatience. His focus isn't speed, it's purpose. Every delay serves a reason. Every pause holds intention. What feels like waiting to us is often God weaving things together, aligning hearts, preparing circumstances, refining our character. It's not a denial, it's a design. And when we trust that His time is always the right time, we can rest. We don't have to strive. We don't have to fear. Because if God said it, He will do it. If He started it, He will finish it. He's never early. He's never late. He's always right on time. Throughout the Bible, we find story after story of people who had to wait. People who felt the sting of delay, the ache of silence, the heaviness of unanswered prayers. Yet in every one of those stories, we also see a pattern. God's timing was never rushed, and His promises were never empty. Take Abraham and Sarah. God promised them a child, a son through whom a great nation would come. But the years went by. Then decades. And still, no child. They were well past the age of possibility. It seemed hopeless. But at the exact moment God had ordained, Sarah conceived. The wait wasn't wasted. It was the very place where faith was born and tested. God didn't forget them. He fulfilled His word in the fullness of time. Then there's Joseph. Betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, wrongfully accused, and left in prison for years. It looked like God had abandoned him. But even in the darkness of a prison cell, God was working. And when the moment was right, Joseph was elevated to power, second only to Pharaoh, at the exact time he was needed to save countless lives. All those years of pain weren't the end of the story. They were part of the preparation. God's timing turned injustice into purpose, and sorrow into strategy. And we can't forget Jesus. The very Son of God lived in obscurity for 30 years before his ministry began. He waited. He listened. He obeyed the Father's timing. If even Jesus waited, what makes us think our journey should be rushed? So if you're wondering why it's taking so long, remember this: if God wasn't rushed with them, He's not rushed with you. His promises are still true. His plan is still unfolding. And when the time is right, His time, everything will fall into place. Waiting can feel like the hardest part of faith. It's the space between the prayer and the promise, the place where hope is tested and trust is stretched. But what if we've misunderstood the waiting? What if it's not a punishment or a pause, but a process with a purpose? The truth is, waiting refines us, not defines us. It is in the waiting that our hearts are shaped, our motives are purified, and our strength is renewed. Isaiah 40 verse 31 gives us this powerful promise. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run, and not be weary, and they shall walk, and not faint. Notice that waiting doesn't weaken us. It strengthens us. But it's not the kind of strength we see on the surface. It's the quiet, resilient kind. The strength to keep believing when nothing has changed. The strength to stand still and know that God is still working. God uses these in-between moments to do deep, unseen work. He prepares us in the silence. He develops character when no one is watching. He builds endurance through every unanswered question. In the waiting, we learn to let go of control and lean into trust. We learn to walk by faith, not by sight. And often, it's in those hidden seasons that God is doing His most important work, not around us, but within us. So when the answer seems delayed, don't assume it's denied. When nothing moves, don't believe that nothing is happening. The delay is not a denial, it's divine development. God is not just preparing the blessing for you, He's preparing you for the blessing. And when the time is right, you won't just receive what you asked for, you'll be ready to carry it with grace and strength. There are moments in life when you feel completely overlooked. Like everyone else is moving forward, finding answers, stepping into blessings, while you remain stuck in the same place, waiting, wondering, silently hurting. It can feel like you've been forgotten. Like your prayers got lost somewhere between your heart and heaven. But if that's how you feel right now, hear this: you are not forgotten. You are being held. Held by a God who sees you, knows you, and is closer than your next breath, even when He seems silent. Psalm 27 verse 14 gently reminds us, "Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord." This is not passive waiting. It's a call to trust with courage. A call to stand firm with hope, even when you don't understand. Because while you're waiting, God is working, quietly, faithfully, perfectly. He's working in ways you can't yet see. Arranging details. Softening hearts. Opening doors that aren't visible yet. Just because you don't see the movement doesn't mean there isn't momentum behind the scenes. His silence does not mean His absence. In fact, some of God's greatest work happens in His quietest moments. The silence isn't empty, it's sacred. It's where He strengthens your faith, matures your spirit, and draws you closer to Him. What feels like delay might actually be divine intimacy, an invitation to trust Him more deeply than ever before. So if you're feeling forgotten, lift your eyes. God is still with you. He hasn't stepped away. He hasn't overlooked your need. He's holding you through every unanswered prayer, every sleepless night, every uncertain step. And in His perfect time, you will see that the one who felt far was never far at all. He was carrying you the whole way. Trusting God is not just about believing He can do something. It's about trusting when He will. That's the kind of faith that stretches us. It's one thing to believe that God is able. It's another to release our timeline, our deadlines, our expectations, and simply rest in His. We live in a world that runs by the clock, rushing, scheduling, pushing everything to happen now. But God isn't bound by our hours or our calendars. His pace is slower, wiser, more deliberate. And while we wait for Him to move, He waits for us to let go. Letting go of the clock is one of the hardest things we'll ever do in faith. But it's also the very thing that leads us to peace. Because real peace doesn't come from getting what we want quickly. It comes from trusting the one who knows when it's best. Surrendering your timeline to God is not giving up, it's giving over. It's saying, God, I don't need to see the full plan, I just need to trust you with the next step. That kind of trust doesn't come overnight. It grows in prayer, in silence, in surrender. Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6 reminds us, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight. We don't need to figure everything out. We just need to trust the one who already has. So today, don't just pray for quicker answers. Pray for a quieter heart. Don't ask for everything to happen faster. Ask for the faith to trust God even when it doesn't. Because when you let go of the clock and hold on to Him, you'll find that His timing isn't just right, it's better than anything you could have ever planned. God hasn't forgotten you. He's preparing you. Right now, in ways you can't see or feel, He is working behind the scenes. He's lining up people, opportunities, and moments that will come together at exactly the right time. The breakthrough you've been praying for, the healing you've been holding on to, the answer that's been delayed, it's not denied. It's simply being made ready. And just as importantly, you're being made ready, too. Because when God moves, He doesn't just change your situation, He transforms you in the process. So don't lose heart. Don't let the weight steal your worship. This season may feel long, it may feel heavy, but it is not wasted. Every quiet moment, every patient prayer, every tear you've cried in the dark, God has seen them all. And He has not overlooked a single one. He's not late. He's not distant. He's preparing you for the very thing you've been asking for, and more. Your appointed time is coming. The door will open. The storm will calm. The answer will come, right on time, not a moment too soon, and not a second too late. So endure with hope. Walk in faith. And wait with expectancy. Trust that the God who promised is faithful to deliver. Let His word hold you steady in the waiting. Habakkuk 2 verse 3 declares, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, though it linger, wait for it, it will certainly come and will not delay. It will come. Your time is not past. Your season is not over. Hold on a little longer. God is not done. And when He moves, you'll see, every second of waiting was worth it.